One of the skills that a lot of people don't understand is when they're in trouble and when they're okay. What I mean by that is, when are you actually in a sustainable speed, or when is your speed or your intensity out of control? You are in a non-sustainable intensity. Basically, you're dying, and this is coming. We need to understand as individuals our level of intensity, our level of fatigue. How do you assess it? And the way that we do it is the breath. The breath is the tell. Remember, our source of energy for our aerobic system is our oxygen. So the more that we increase our intensity, the more that we actually breathe, right? Our demand for oxygen goes up. And so what we do is we monitor the breath. The breath is the tell. So if you've ever heard a coach say to you, get back in control of your breathing, what they're saying is you're hyperventilating. You are in a non-sustainable speed. You must slow down. So the thing about when you are in a non-sustainable breathing pattern and you don't slow down, you got two other choices. One is you finish and then lay on the ground, or what's going to happen is you're going to start accumulating lactic acid. And this acidity is eventually going to interfere with your muscles from firing, and you're going to gradually go to 100% muscular capacity, down to 99, then 98, and then pretty soon this is happening. So remember, if you don't make the decision to slow down and you don't have the finish line, you're going to get your muscle fibers shut down. So knowing when you're in control of your breathing and out of control of your breathing is essential. So I want to teach you this as a skill, and it's an advanced skill. So a lot of things in terms of breathing, just like everything, gets complicated. You know, we talk about nasal breathing, in through the nose and out through the mouth, and how many steps do we take in the exhale and how many on the inhale. Great. We got to get back to the core. What are the most essential pieces in terms of breathing that an athlete should be applying before they start going into all this advanced types of concepts? There's two. The first one is the brain needs to know when the next dose of energy is coming. It needs to be a reliable and predictable pattern. Remember, the brain is always responsible for recruiting the motor units that allow you to move. If the brain doesn't know when the next dose of energy is coming, why would it ever relax the muscle groups? It's going to always hold back. So a good example of that is that I would take games athletes to a swimming pool. And I would tell them, I'm all, hey, can you hold your breath for a minute? And they're like, you know, they'd look at me like I'm so dumb. And so we'd sit there and I'd put a watch on the floor, and of course they'd be able to hold it on dry land for a minute. Well, I'd take them then to the edge of the swimming pool. I'd make them sit on the deck, put their feet in the water, and I'd say, okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to swim the length of the pool, 25 yards, underwater. So at 3, 2, 1, go, you're going to slide off the edge of the deck, slide down the wall. When you're 6 feet under, I want you pushing off and swimming all the way under the water. Well, if they've never done it before, you know how far they make it? About 10 seconds. Well done, right? 10 seconds. Well, the reason is because they get that fear, that adrenaline rush, right? And the brain also realizes that when's the next dose of energy coming? It's going to force you up. It's going to create this phantom fatigue, and you're up. And so what I want you to recognize is that the brain is heavily involved. You need to let the brain know that that next dose of energy is coming on a reliable pattern, okay? The best athletes with rhythm of the breath are swimmers, right? Breath, breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Versus, what if I had a breathing pattern, and in running what we do is we monitor one cycle of breath for steps. When's the next dose coming? The brain will never free up your muscle groups. I have a lot of athletes, they say, I had the best run I've ever had in my life. You know what probably happened to them? They jumped into a rhythm. And you know what? The brain counted on. Every step, there was a reliable and predictable breathing pattern. And it relaxed the muscle groups, all right? So, What we know is we have to have that reliable pattern.